now we're to a point where the government's printing money like it's going out of style. And you have, I explained before that there's a big difference between getting rich and then protecting your wealth. And now you're getting to the point where heavily, like people that are already really wealthy and stuff like that are starting to see this as a way to protect their wealth. And when that is comes in full force, then everything's changed. The game has changed.
Yeah.
This is not a speculative thing anymore. In fact, if you're looking at that, the most people that have this super wealth, they want to keep it in US dollars. They're like, no, no, I can't do that because inflation, and they already said that they're targeting the super high inflation rates, and they're going to tell you it's 10% when it's really 20%. Like again, like we talked about the plywood and lumber and all that other stuff. So you got these. So what's that leave them with? It leaves them with like real estate, gold, silver, bonds, bond,
Physical assets, really.
yeah, treasuries. So you see the U.S. debt, and they're like, no, the treasuries. That's for the first time in ever. That's like probably not safe. So what about real estate? And you see commercial real estate with malls and you know commercial, just people workplace. Everybody's working from home. You got all these huge office buildings that are being empty. So commercial real estate doesn't look attractive. And then you look at, okay, well, like rental properties or something. Nobody's traveling. You know what I mean? Everybody got to wear a mask and stay at home. Nobody travel. You got to talk on Zoom and these things. So that doesn't look attractive. You know what I mean? So now you got like gold. You got gold and you got Bitcoin and you got silver. And you look at silver and you look at the futures trading, and you're like, well, geez, that's manipulated. You know what I mean? Like incredible amount. Probably won't do that. Okay, now I got gold and Bitcoin. And you look at the Bitcoin's chart, for the year, and then you look at gold dropping. Gold's up 3% for the past year. So you can either invest in like the most sophisticated monetary policy that like humanity's ever come up with, or you can buy a rock. It's a pretty rock, don't get me wrong. Gold's pretty cool, but it leaves them very limited on what will protect your wealth. When you're looking at like Michael Saylor says, you get this block of ice. And for like companies that produce stuff, if you're looking at your savings account is like nothing, you're receiving nothing in the bank, like 0.05% or whatever. And then you get inflation rates at, let's be modest and even say that they're like at 10%. So you have a company that makes, let's say, $100,000. Well, if you're getting 20% of your profits are going to be eaten away by the cancer that is inflation. It's going to be gone. Okay, so your company has to be 10 to 20% more successful, has to produce 10 to 20% more. You know what I mean? To even stay flat, to even not to grow, to stay where you were last year.
I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last podcast or not, but I was talking to the president of my company who's been in business since 1971. So in the 70s, they had runaway inflation then, and he said that there's a blueberry business across the street from him. And he said they were selling more blueberries than they had ever sold in their pies and whatever. They're basically value adding blueberries and making different products. He said they were selling like hotcakes, bang, bang, bang. He said he would talk to the owner, and the owner was like, we've never had a better year as far as business goes than this year. And that year they went out of business because the inflation, he wasn't charging anymore for his stuff, right? So he was paying more, and basically it ate it up, and the business failed because of that.
Well, when people don't think, like the big argument is there deflation or is there inflation? You know what I mean? And this is the first time ever that you had like products you kind of had both at the same time. You're printing money like it means absolute shit. And then on the other side, you have less people working. They're producing less. So nobody's spending any money. You have all this fear and stuff, and people like, well, my roof leaks or whatever. But well, I'll put that off till next year because you're worried if you're going to have a job, or if you're worried or whatever. So for the first time ever, you had both. You know what I mean? So nobody knows which way it was going to go. Is it going to be deflation? Is it going to be inflation? I think you have a deflationary period because nobody's spending money. But then you got the government just like they're at a titty bar, just flipping hundreds out.
That's one of my questions.
Well, when you got that, after all this settles, after everything settles and we take the mask off and everybody goes outside, that 30 to 40% more money out there is going to show itself. It's going to be like, hey, here we are. So you have more money chasing the same amount of goods and services. Okay. Where do you think it goes from there? You know what I mean? It's really not, if you really, it's not complicated. The problem is people don't even think about it. They don't spend 5 minutes.
Until it's too late.
They just want to watch Game of Thrones.
You know, that's
their business.
Well, and that's one of the problems is that we haven't seen too late in our generation, right? So especially like Gen X, millennials, and whatever's behind them, Y, I guess. It's like we've been raised in this like bubble wrapped economy. You know what I mean? So me and Jim remember 2008, but how hard did that actually burn? You know, like the price of my house went from, I think I was at like $225,000 because I had a house in Colorado. And when 2008 hit, it went down to 160, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to sell this house. Well, by 2016, my house was worth over $300,000, and I'm like, what did we learn? You know, nothing. It was like, let's put the Band-Aid on and keep running.
As far as housing markets and all that, you got to really look into a guy named called Ray Dalio. He's a really smart dude that's been around and studied markets for his whole life, and he's up there in age. And he has what they have, the housing market goes in cycles, but he thinks that like this is a super cycle. You know what I mean? You have these major whoops and depressions, and people don't see it coming. But I think you'd be very, very, very happy if you bought some of this and stuck it in your pocket. But that's my rant. I'll calm down.
No, it's true though. You said it's the most secure form of money, or not money, but currency that you can have. There's a difference between money and currency. In one of your guys' shows, you described that into detail between that.
Mm-hmm.
And that paper dollar that you got in your pocket, I mean shit when it comes down to the end of it.
Yeah, you can't make no more. And I'm telling you, these people are collecting it behind the scenes. I could show you charts. All day long. I go on that crypto quant, and there's another one. You know what I mean? The crypto quant and the Glassnode. I swear, it's like having an EKG all hooked up to this beast that is fucking crypto. And you watch its blood pressure and its cholesterol and all this other stuff, and everything points in one direction. It really does.
I'm not big on laws, but I really wish that anybody that's like in the Senate or Congress had to disclose what they were investing in. You know what I mean? Like,
they're all into that.
Well,
every one of them.
I bet if you could see that, it's Bitcoin all the way. Or, Bitcoin or other things. But I guarantee you, like, if Elon Musk is doing it, like, I won't name names, but certain senators, whatever, found out that they were going to make the government fleets electrical by whatever year, right? What are they doing behind the scenes? It's like, throw your money at Tesla. You know what I mean? They already knew it before we could know it. They're patting their pockets.
Of course they are. I could show you that the Rothschilds just invested a shit ton into Grayscale.
Really?
You ever heard of the Rothschilds?
Yeah. So
it's here, it's coming, and it's not like it's hidden. It's actually disclosed information.
Some of it, the Fed stopped doing their weekly disclosures on the. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, most people don't.
Flesh that out. What is that?
I said they stopped having to disclose their weekly report on
Is that a new bill that just passed?
what's going on shore. I'm sure that was shoveled into the Corona wear your mask stuff.
Oh yeah. They kept everyone happy with the $1,400, but the 20,000 pages other that come with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me going on that.
Go